What did the video look like yesterday, the debrief session?
Probably what we saw in the game. We talked a lot about physicality, both sides of the ball, and we came up second best there. So yeah, there wasn't a lot of stuff that we didn't see in the game that surprised us.
On that physicality, both sides of the ball, was that structural? Was that sort of attitude? How do you explain that going into a game like that?
It certainly wasn't attitude. There's a few things that structurally we looked at that could give us a little bit more momentum to help our ball carriers. But it's a really tough place to go in terms of the physicality that they bring. And like I say, it's a big work on for us that we need to improve before we play Scotland.
You have 7 days between games. It's something that can be fixed in that sort of space of time.
Historically, we get better as this tournament goes on. So, yeah, we're hoping to see a big improvement in that in the weekend.
You've obviously got players available. Coming back, Ross Moriarty's obviously had a bit off the bench. He's a physical player. Is he someone you look to start maybe this week, given his attributes?
Yeah, he's certainly in consideration for that. Lack of game time. He's been out since I think it was a New Zealand game. So he's had good game time with the Dragons. He came on the weekend, so he's certainly someone who comes in consideration for us.
And just a bit of sort of housekeeping. Is there anybody sort of unavailable from the weekend? Any bumps or bruises? And also, Willis Alahola missed last week. Is he available for this weekend?
Yeah, they're training fully, so hopefully they come through the next couple of days and they're available for selection.
Scotland, Jonathan, a team you know well, but they've obviously gone well. They've got a great win. What do you think they're going to be doing coming down to Cardiff? I
think they'll be pretty confident. I think over the last period of time now, they seem to be making big strides forward. They're a good team. They've got a lot of Lions there now with a lot of experience. So we're expecting them to come at us physically, and that's where our improvement has to be.
And Steve Tandy, obviously another guy you know well. He's doing a great job with the defence. What are you expecting from him this weekend?
Steve, I've known Steve a long time, doing an outstanding job there, as everybody can see. Look, they're very, very well organised. They'll put a lot of heat over the ball, try and slow it down for us, so to bring us into those physical confrontations. So, yeah, he's a good coach, and we're well prepared for that.
And Wales haven't lost to Scotland in Cardiff for 20 years. Is that a factor you can sort of thrive on this weekend?
No. I think in this, in the last few years, history doesn't mean anything really. We're dealing with what we see as a team that's full of threats coming down to us. So history means there's a little relevance to us.
And final one for me: what was the reaction of the players been like since Saturday?
As you could imagine, disappointment. After the review, it's always tough when you have a review like that. So, but I see a determination, and I see a group that's looking forward to playing in front of 75,000 Welsh supporters who are desperate for the team to do well. So, yeah, determined to do well.
Okay, so Matt, will come to you next.
Hi, John. Just a quick one. Sam Warburton mentioned that the difference between the two teams really on the weekend was the carrying ability of the front fives. Thought Ireland got on top in that area. Is that something you recognise and something that you think you've got area to work on?
Yeah, definitely. It comes around to that sort of physicality, and Ireland was certainly on the front foot carrying ball, which is a lot easier to get momentum. So we're working hard this week, and in terms of trying to create that momentum to allow us to move forward on the ball rather than be static as we were on the weekend. So yes, it's definitely an area that we recognise and we need to work on.
Physicality is something that's easy to throw around, but you can't help make the boys grow in the next few days or become any bigger. So is that a case of adding on a support player going into contact? Is it something like that? Adding numbers to that area that you look at, or?
Yeah, I think I 100% agree. I don't think, we say we need to be more physical. Well, how are you going to be more physical? And that's what we're working on. We just don't want people just to run harder, or tackle harder. They just throw away words. We're on about technically how do we get in those positions to be able to get dominance, and that's been a big focus for us this week.
Just sort of, using your insight, explain perhaps why is it so difficult to play if you're not winning the gain line, and why does it make it easier if you are?
Well, it's momentum. If you have, like, see Ireland on the weekend, when they're winning collisions, they got quick ball. It's much easier then to get momentum and be on the front foot. So it's the start of that. How do we get momentum? How do we keep momentum when we're carrying the ball? So these are the things that we've technically looked at. As you say, you just can't say run harder. We're on about how do we get momentum, and how do we maintain momentum, and what do we do to help us there. So they've been the focus points for us.
And just lastly from myself, one area you must have been pleased with is the scrum. Ireland went into the game with a big reputation in the front row, but perhaps didn't get what you deserved out of that, I don't think.
We've done, a lot of work on our process, really. How we set, trying to maintain good pitches for the referee. So there was some pleasing parts of that on the weekend. I thought, both front rows, both the players and the subs came on really adhered to those principles. And but again, there we got a team on the weekend who will be a big thing about hitting and chasing and trying to scrum for penalties. So we've got to be aware of that and maintain our principles.
Thanks, John.
Hamish?
Hi, thanks. Just on the scrum, John, the new rule with the foot, overall there maybe seems slightly fewer resets. Forget the last few minutes in Murrayfield. What did you think? Did you think it worked? Did it make any difference?
I think it's about maintaining balance. I think with what they're trying to stop is everybody trying to put weight through their heads. If the hooker keeps his break foot on, it's an easier cue for the referee to see that there's balance in that scrum. So I think it's a work in progress. I hope it's continued to be refereed throughout the tournament, and I do think it makes a difference. It's technically a little bit more difficult for height on engagement because the hooker's got his break foot on. So yeah, I think it was a positive thing, and like I say, I hope it's refereed in that manner.
You obviously know an awful lot of these Scotland players well. You've coached them. You've seen the likes of Xander Ferguson coming through from a kid to where he is now. Is that an advantage? Is that something that you look at? Do you have sort of little bits of extra knowledge rather than just analysis?
No, I know the people, spend a lot of time working with them, but no, I don't think it gives you any extra advantage. You can see on the video how well they've progressed over the years. And like I say, they're a threat. And for us, it's about up front is maintaining our principles, sticking to our process, and having some intent.
And finally, for me, am I right in thinking your family are still up in Scotland?
Yeah. My daughter is just finished school, so yeah.
Just wondering what this week's like for them.
Oh, we live out in the sticks, so and they're not rugby mad people, so they cope just fine.
Yeah, live out in the sticks near to my family in the sticks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Sure.
Okay, and Liam?
Hi, John. Just two from me, if possible. Obviously, a new cap in Dow Lake on the weekend. Was that a bit of a boost, despite obviously the failure? Was it a nice morale booster for the team, and how did Dowie take it?
Oh, it was excellent. He's come off a long-term injury. He's had a couple of games under his belt, but he's someone who we had earmarked, a couple of years ago as someone who potentially could be with us, could be in the World Cup. So I thought he was very good. First game, I asked him how it was, and he said fast. So it's a great learning experience for him, and someone we've got a lot of faith in for the future.
And you mentioned there a learning experience. You've got so many of the younger players. Tim Basham, another one who's sort of new to the international game, but but seemed to be taking it in his stride. Is a loss like that something that they can definitely learn from and make sure it won't happen again?
100%. Every experience they have will allow them to progress on. And you can talk about what it's like playing in Ireland with the physicality that they bring fully loaded, but until you experience that, it's something you can't really put into words. So no, they're great. As young kids, but they got no fear. They just want to get better and they want to win.